Hey Aries, this week we are in Mercury Retrograde. So Mercury Retrograde gets a bit of a bad reputation, but I'm here to tell you that it is not so bad. It can actually be a really beneficial time. So first of all, Mercury Retrograde is lasting this time from September 27th till October 18th. It is in the sign of Libra. So we have 3 times a year Mercury retrograde, and during this time it's kind of like we have to revamp or kind of revisit some of our mindsets, some of the things that are not serving us anymore, the way that we communicate, the way that we have relationships. That's why typically people say that you often get like exes or friends from the past coming back into your life during Mercury retrograde. So the thing is that you have to realise during this time is that it's actually really important to kind of refresh something. So it might be this time that you are thinking about the way that you communicate with other people. Is there any imbalances in your communication, in your relationships? Are you perhaps giving too much, or are you not giving enough in your relationships? Are you perhaps one of these people that never gets a word in edgeways with certain people? Maybe you've got someone in your life that talks too much, and there's the imbalance there. So because this is Libra, and Libra is the sign of the scales, it's going to be a lot to do with noticing the imbalances in your relationships. So if you can kind of like acknowledge them and just try and balance them out a little bit, then you are essentially doing the work of Mercury retrograde. So what's the tarot got to add? Okay, you have got the Ace of Cups and the Five of Wands. So you are a little bit conflicted at the moment, perhaps with a new relationship, or a relationship that's kind of taken on a new kind of feeling recently. And so there is quite a lot of like back and forth of like, is this the right thing? Should I follow this? Should I do this? And what this is telling you is that at the moment, because of Mercury retrograde, you might be a little bit like 1 minute thinking one thing and the next minute thinking another thing. If this is about an existing relationship, it might be that 1 minute you're like, oh, everything is great, everything is roses, and then the next minute you're like, this person, we're just having arguments, etc., etc. So the lesson here is to just kind of like step back a little bit sometimes, because things are not always as they seem. Mercury retrograde can make things seem more like tense or seem more difficult than they actually are. So this is a really important time for you to just kind of take a little step back, spend a little bit of time by yourself, and then revisit this particular relationship and this particular dynamic and see if you can see it with fresh eyes. So have a wonderful Mercury retrograde. Obviously come next week as well. I'll be talking about it a little bit more. And if you want a full reading, there is a link below. Much love.